everyone to the Manchester City Library and our Create and Tell demonstration video. This video is part of our summer reading program event, and anyone grades 3 to 6 who signed up will have a direction packet in their bag along with their Tales and Tales passport, which is going to guide us through our exploration of the continents this summer, as well as their stories and animals on them. If you are not in this age range or haven't signed up for summer reading, you are welcome to follow along. Just make sure that you gather the supplies and get permissions depending on what we're doing that week. I also want to remind everyone that the tell portion of our Create and Tell is going to take place on Fridays on Zoom. So look for the Create and Tell Science Afternoons on Fridays at the Manchester City Library website and sign up for that. And then we can all show what we have been working on this week. Okay, so let's get into this week's demonstration. Hello everyone, and welcome to week 6 of our summer reading program, Tales and Tales. This is our Create and Tell demo. This week we are going to be visiting Europe. As you can see, if you turn to page 6 in your Tales and Tales passport, you can see that we are visiting the continent of Europe, and we're going to be stopping in France, where they did use what we are going to be demonstrating today in the fashion industry there. So we are actually going to be learning about making plastic out of milk. I know it's crazy. I couldn't believe it when I first learned about it. But historically, all sorts of small plastic items were made out of milk. It's biodegradable and it is pretty strong as long as you don't make it too big. So it was really popular in making buttons, but also in other small items such as costume jewelry, thread. It's even made into fabrics, which is really cool. So the plastic is made out of casein, which is a protein in cow's milk that form a chain called a polymer. And these are separated from the rest of the milk by using an acid, and then they can be scooped out and molded into fun shapes by us. So to make the casein really hard, like for use in buttons, they would actually add formaldehyde. Now we're not going to do that because that gets a little bit dangerous and a little bit tricky. So ours is going to be a little bit softer, but it still dries pretty hard and can last for quite some time. Like I know that I have made some and they've lasted for months. So I think we'll be pretty good. The process of separating the casein polymers from the rest of the milk is actually also how you get curds and whey, which are used in making cheese and other foods, and might sound familiar if you guys have ever heard about little Miss Muffet, who sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey. And I think it's really interesting that through this demonstration, we're going to be able to get kind of a visual on what even she was doing. But don't eat it, guys, because our version is not going to taste good. All right, so that was like a lot of information to throw at you. So let's just go ahead and gather our supplies and see where we can go from there. If you look at your demo instructions for this week, it will give you a list of ingredients and supplies. There's nothing from the library this week just because of the types of supplies like milk that we'll be using, which really would not be easy to hand out. So go ahead and gather your supplies and I will go over them once we have done that. All right, see you in a second. All right, and now that we've gathered our supplies, let's do a quick inventory before we get started. So we have our half cup of milk. We have our vinegar or lemon juice, depending on which one you have in the house or which one you want to use. We have a strainer and a coffee filter. You really technically only need one of these. You could also use a paper towel, but I find it easier to use them both together to just catch as much of the separated curds as we can. I've got 2 bowls, one to mix the milk and the um, the acid together, and the other to catch the liquid that we're going to strain out. I have a teaspoon to measure our vinegar or our lemon juice, and I have a knife, a butter knife, which I'm going to use to help shape the plastic when we get it. You could also use like a silicone mold or a small cookie cutter, or just your hands, just whatever you want to use. You can also, if you want to color your plastic, you might also want to get some food coloring. And if you plan on using food coloring, then you probably want to use vinegar. I'm not sure how well it would show up with the lemon juice. I also just want to say that this experiment slash demonstration does take a little bit of time. So we are going to need to let this set for a few minutes in between, and we'll cut to that. But also your plastic is going to need to dry for like maybe 2 or 3 days, depending on like how thick it is. So just make sure you have a spot picked out where that can dry undisturbed for a couple of days before you can play with them, and they'll be relatively sturdy. Okay, since that is all taken care of, let's start. So I'm going to grab our smaller bowl here. And everything is on a tray just in case of spills. We're going to take our milk and we are going to pour it into our small bowl, just like that. And then we are going to take our measure, our teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and use the vinegar because why not? The vinegar does have a kind of a stronger smell, just so you know. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And I know you guys can't really see super well, but really it does start separating the curds and the whey almost immediately. So it is curdling the milk, which happens when milk gets old, but we are just sort of forcing that to happen quickly right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir it for like about a minute, and then we're going to let it rest for about another 10 minutes. And you can watch it and really see the separation process, or if you just want to set a timer and come back to it, that's also fine. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to check back in so we can finish this demonstration. And we're back after 10 minutes, and our curds and whey have separated. So what we want to do is we want to keep the sort of chunks of the curd and drain off the liquid whey. So we're going to take our larger bowl in whatever you have to strain, either a strainer, a coffee filter, if you have some paper towels, or if you have cheesecloth, which is a fabric that is made for making cheese, and can be found in most fabric stores or grocery stores. You may have seen it used for like Halloween decorations for like ghosts or mummies. But really anything that will separate these two is fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour this in. All right, and this may take a little bit of time, You do want to use some patience because it's really easy um, to break the paper towels or the coffee filter if you try and squeeze the liquid out too fast. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We are going to just carefully squeeze all of the liquid um, out and into this bowl. See, it's already going just like pretty fast. And hopefully that will keep up and we won't have any rips in our coffee filter. Okay, so I have squeezed quite a bit of liquid out of this. I did have a small rip in my coffee filter, but it wasn't too bad. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift and we're going to take our plastic out of the strainer. So we've got this, which is in our coffee filter. We're going to scrape that out onto a paper towel. And it is a lot easier to get this to come off of a coffee filter rather than a paper towel when you're straining it through the first time. So that is a suggestion that I will make. Okay, so now we've got our plastic ready here. This is actually when, if you want to add a color into the plastic by using food coloring, this is when you would take another bowl with some more vinegar or lemon juice, I guess. Although the vinegar is going to give you a better color, I think, if you want to color it. And then you would re-soak your plastic in with the vinegar and the food coloring for like about another hour. I haven't done that myself yet, but that is what I have heard. It also makes your plastic like a little less lumpy because it can be kind of hard to mold this into a shape as is, and going through the second process makes it a little bit smoother. But I'm going to go ahead and try to work with what we have right now. Something that I have found, if you don't have a mold, like a silicone mold or a cookie cutter that you can pack it into, because I think that's the easiest. But if you don't have one of those, I think kind of squishing it in the paper towel so it makes kind of like a flat kind of dough looking shape, and then taking something like a butter knife or something similar that you can use to cut pieces away. I found that that's an easier way to shape this dough as well. So here we go. I have a little shield, like on Superman's shield, that I've created, kind of like that diamondy shape. And so what I would do then would I would set this aside and let it dry for like a couple of days, and then I could go back in and paint it. I would paint it with Superman's shield because that's what I think would be cool, but you guys can do whatever you want. I do have some examples of some things that I made a while back that are fully dry. So let's see, these two are actually made with the lemon juice. I don't know if they would always turn out this color, but this is what happened when I made them with lemon juice. And then these are what happened when I made them with the vinegar, and again using no coloring or whatever. So that's just to give you an idea of kind of where we're headed. As it dries, sometimes they do also curl up a little bit, and I just sort of put more paper towels and then like a book to keep it flat. So those are just some kind of tips to go forward with. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I still think it's fascinating that we can make plastic out of milk. Well, I will let us move forward. I've got some cleanup to do. You probably do too, and we will meet back here after that's done. I hope that you all enjoyed this demonstration, and I want to remind you, if you are in the 3rd to 6th grade range, remember that you can join our Create and Tell Friday afternoons Zoom sessions where we can talk about what we've done this week, what we've done previous weeks, or really anything that we've done in the summer reading program or just in life. And I also want to remind everyone of all ages to log your reading minutes in Read Squared. Because if you're doing that reading anyway, you might as well put them towards our badges, our coupons, and our raffles. We have only, 3 more weeks to get all of that in that you can. If you are looking for reading suggestions, remember we do have reading lists for Tales and Tales on the Read app. And I hope that you are enjoying the rest of your summer as we go forward. Okay, I hope to see you next week for another great demonstration where we will be visiting the continent of Asia. All right, guys, I hope to see you then. Bye.